What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and I put out a Heartbreaker build about a week ago, something like that, and many of you reached out to the channel since then asking me to put together one with a Catharsis mask. I thankfully just got it. This build is so much fun to use, and I wanted to share it with you today. Now, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, do me a favor, hit that like button as well, and remember, we are currently having a giveaway for an Xbox Series X. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced on July 4th of this year. So as I mentioned at the beginning of every build video I put together, I want to remind especially new and returning players that this is just a template. With this gear set, there are so many different ways to run it. You could change the chest to Fenris, you could use a talent spotter, so again, try out different things and find one you like best. As always, I'm starting off with a little bit of gameplay footage, then we're going to get into the build itself, and then at the end of the video I want to pass along a few tips and tricks to new players, which should hopefully help you out when you're trying out a new build for the first time. Now you can see here, I'm in countdown mode on my own, and this build is an absolute monster because it puts out a ton of damage and it gives you high survivability. And for those of you that are just trying to, let's say, segue into challenging to heroic or something like that, this is a build I strongly recommend because it's going to help keep you alive and put out a ton of damage. Another great thing about this build is that you're pretty much good to go whether you're going to play solo or in a group. Now, as I mentioned, this one is centered around the Catharsis mask. However, for those of you that do not have it as yet, I will show you a screenshot of another build you can use at the end of this video. As always, we're going to start off with the specialization. We're using technician, so we get the use of that linked laser pointer, which pulses every single enemy that we aim at, which comes into play with the Heartbreaker gear set. Now, one thing I want to point out real quick is a quick example of how to show you to activate the proper weapons in your skill tree. So right now I have SMGs and shotguns. I'm not using SMGs, so I'm going to respec those points, move them over to assault rifles. And what that does is it ensures for this build that every time I have one of my weapons equipped, I'm always getting that 15% weapon damage bonus. And the main reason I bring that up, my friends, is that with the specializations, you could use a specialization for so many different types of builds. You want to make sure the proper weapons are always equipped in that skill tree, because otherwise you're just wasting out on extra damage you could be having. Now, starting off with my primary weapon for this build, I'm using the Kingbreaker assault rifle, which you can get from getting to level 80 in your seasonal reward track, or you can farm for it wherever ARs are the targeted loot, you know, go to the summit or countdown, whatever it is, to try to pick it up. Now, it has the talent Perfect Flatline, which amplifies weapon damage by 20% to pulsed enemies. After 2 kills, it applies pulse to the next enemy you hit. However, since we can equip the linked laser pointer with this weapon, every single enemy we're targeting is pulsed, so we're always getting that damage. Secondary weapon for this build is the rock and roll shotgun. Now, if you do not have it, there are multiple ways you can try to get it. You can farm in the dark zone because it is a DZ exclusive. You can get it from a dark zone vendor. If they're selling it, you can get it from a named cache, or with the new countdown vendor, there's a chance they have it for sale as well. Now, the main reason we're using it for this build, and if you don't have this, you can use the ACS-12 automatic shotgun as well, but you can equip that linked laser pointer, so as soon as you engage with an NPC when you're getting into battle, you're able to really build those stacks and again get a ton of armor and a ton of extra damage. Moving on to the gear itself, my friends, starting off with the mask, it is the Catharsis. Again, you can get this from getting to level 90 in the seasonal reward track. Now, it has a talent Vicious Cycle, where taking damage builds stacks to a cap of 30. Each stack grants 1% weapon damage. Taking damage at max stacks triggers a purge, removing all stacks and status effects, and then dropping a healing cloud which restores 5% max armor for 10 seconds to all allies in the cloud. Moving on to the body armor, it's the first of 4 pieces of the Heartbreaker gear set. We're using all 4 so we get all of those gear set bonuses. You can see a 2-piece gives you 15% assault rifle and LMG damage, a 3-piece is 15% weapon handling, and the 4-piece is Heartstopper. Headshots apply pulse for 5 seconds, however that does not apply to us because we have the linked laser pointer. Everything we target is going to be pulse. Now, weapon hits on pulsed enemies adds a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1% damage to pulsed enemies up to a max of 50 stacks. Now, when you have the Heartbreaker armor equipped, you also have the talent max BPM. It increases max stacks for Heartstopper from 50 to 100, so again, whether you're playing solo or in a group, it's just absolutely insane the armor and damage that you're putting out. Moving on to the holster, it's the one piece of Fenris we have equipped, so we get that 10% assault rifle damage bonus, and pretty much on all of these pieces, the holster, the knee pads, and the gloves, I'm trying to stack crit hit chance and crit hit damage everywhere I can. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, in a moment I'm going to show you a variation of this build if you do not have the Catharsis. Now, as we make our way to the backpack, it is the fourth and final piece of the Heartbreaker gear set. This has the talent Cold, which increases total bonus armor gain per stack from Heartstopper from 1% to 2%, which again is absolutely insane. As far as my skills are concerned, I'm using the assault drone because it's a great distraction to NPCs and puts out damage, and I'm using the shield as well, just as I'm getting used to the build itself with gaining stacks using the rock and roll shotgun. However, another popular option is the decoy, so again, try out different things and see what works best for you. Now, as promised at the beginning of the video, I wanted to show you another option that is really effective as well without the Catharsis mask. If you don't have it, you can see it's basically the exact same build. I have a Heartbreaker mask, and for the gloves I'm using Contractors, for the knee pads I'm using Fox's Prayers. Now at this point in the video, I want to pass along a few tips to new and returning players anytime you're trying out a new build. And one thing I recommend is going to a mission or control point that you're comfortable with, so you know the timing of the NPCs, so you can see how the build truly responds to your gameplay. However, when it comes to countdown mode, my friends, just jump into it. I know a lot of people are saying, they have no idea what they're doing, they're just jumping in, kind of following everyone else. Do that a few times. Learn the patterns, learn what works for you, really customize the build to your game style, and I sincerely hope this helps. Most of you know by now that one of my favorite aspects about putting these build videos together is the family that we have here at the channel. So as always, if you have any tips or tricks or build ideas you want to pass along to new and returning players, please let me know in the section down below, as the main goal is to try to help out as many people as we can. With that being said, as always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible support of this channel, and remind you, like I mentioned at the beginning of this thing, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, do me a favor, hit that like button as well. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Warning. Experimental reactor unstable. Safety protocols activated. Magnetic containment failure. Elevated threat of EMP discharge.
Nice work on the valves. Now, I need you to expose the reactor's core. The magnetic core. You should be fine.
High-risk hostile. System stolen. Evacuate the facility. 5 minutes to lockdown.
Containment field.
Experimental reactor offline. System curtailed. System reactivated.